Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to My T Sharp, aka the Black Awareness Rally podcast, affectionately taken from the movie Coming to America. You could be rocking with anybody else in the world right now, but you are here with us, and for that we do appreciate you.
All right, got you.
Yeah, man. So what's been going on with you?
This week, man, trying to avoid the news. Let me not say that. Not trying to avoid the news. Trying to avoid black people saying crazy stuff about the news. So,
yeah, I feel you. I think what's happened in the last week and a half or so kind of shows you the aim of the news, like how everything was like all coronavirus, and then like all of a sudden the George Floyd situation happens, and it's like we don't hear nothing about the coronavirus no more when it was like the most serious thing in the world. Right. So I think it kind of exposed the media a tad bit on their tactics of creating the propaganda.
Well,
a tad. Not steal any lines from your boy 45, but hey.
Say it again.
I said I don't want to steal any lines from your boy 45. But I think in this situation, it might apply. It might apply.
I mean, it's been a wild week. In a wild couple of weeks, like the whole world was like, let's get in on these protests. But I think it's a perfect storm. So, yeah. So that's pretty much it, man. Just trying to follow through with some of the recommendations I made this week. So,
I hear you.
Out there in these streets, pounding the pavement. Finally got out the house to make some of that happen, and just trying to stay motivated by watching some film work. But anyway, yeah, let's get the ball rolling. Black Awareness Rally. Yeah, here we go. So, as always, Black Awareness Rally is brought to you by McDowell's. You know what I mean? Not McDonald's. That's right. Not for the new follow. The new viewers. They got the Golden Arches. We got the Golden Arch. The show is play up on the Coming to America Classic. That the world over, all black people everywhere love this movie. Even Candace Owens. Yeah. So if you ain't never seen it, go check it out.
Oh man, can I add something real quick about Candace Owens? It's like really quick, right?
After the rally.
After the rally? All right. Really quick, that hit me like 5 minutes before the show started. Okay, and I was like, gotta bring it up. But go ahead.
We want to mix up with the props we be giving everybody else. So, first up in the Black Awareness Rally segment is Miss Black Awareness Pageant. That's where we give a shout out to the Hugh Hefner on High for creating the sisters. You know what I mean? Hugh Hefner could take the picture, Instagram could take the picture, iPhone could take the picture, but only Hugh Hefner on High could make it. So my nomination for this week is going to be Lena Waithe. Oh, you know what? Time out. Were you gonna nominate Yvonne Orji?
Yes, I was.
I knew he was gonna do it, so I was like, let him have it. Okay, so I'm gonna let you have it. So we're gonna go with Lena Waithe. Lena Waithe is the actor, writer, producer. A lot of shows that we might be familiar with. She is one of the creators for The Chi. I'm nominating her this week for donating $25,000 directly to the protesters who dropped their Cash App handle in the comments of one of her videos on Instagram. She wants to show force, show solidarity, and so she's taking on some debt for the actual protesters that are on the ground and that were able to get the cash up to her in time, and she's going to be doing that along with some other work in the near future.
Yes, shout outs to that young lady, and to kind of even though you already spilt the element of surprise, I'm going to shout out Yvonne Orji, who had a HBO comedy special last night, and it was nice. It wasn't like the normal comedy special because it wasn't like slapping funny. but it was very, very smart, witty comedy,
Yeah.
which was a nice, refreshing. Yeah, nice change of pace. It was refreshing. You could tell that this sister is very, very smart and knows her stuff, and it was nice to see her come together for her. Not only that she had an opportunity, and shout out to HBO. HBO, they be big up in sisters with opportunities for them to put their art on display. Even though Brandon likes to shoot some of that art down.
Hey, whoa. This ain't the time for that right now. It's the next segment.
Even though you like to shoot some of that art down, HBO does give the sisters a platform, and last night was a well-deserved platform, and I think she made the most of it. So shout out to that sister. And just so you know, she's single in these streets too. She's single in these streets. Now we're back. I can't hear you no more. I can hear you now. Yeah. So we gotta stop doing that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's working. They did a good job. They came together and did what they could this week. Hey, y'all, sorry for all the tech problems. I just fixed it, so it's been a little off today. I don't get what's happening, but yeah, shout out to the NFL players for putting that video together. That's my community awareness moment nomination. We got a collection of some of the league's biggest stars come together and ask the NFL and the owners why they aren't openly condemning racism, why they're not openly condemning police brutality, and why they're condemning the peaceful protest that everybody's doing. And also why they didn't issue a statement flat out saying, we support Black Lives Matter. All right?
Yeah. I think NFL did come out in support of it. I don't know if it was after the video, before the video, but I think Roger Goodell made a statement, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, a couple people in the comments saying they missed the conversation. Basically, we were saying Yvonne Orji single. I'm single. She 36. I'm 36. She black. I'm black. Her parents want her to marry me. I want me to marry her. That's what happened. So, yeah. Pledge, I think they actually dropped that video before the NFL openly condemned police brutality. Like, everybody was releasing these statements that were really, soft stances about, we need to come together and all that stuff. But the NFL players were saying, nah, y'all need to flat out say y'all support Black lives and you're against police brutality. So I believe Roger Goodell came out and said something right after that. All right. Who you got?
For my community moment, I got to shout out the GOAT, Jordan, for dropping that $100 million on things. I think he does solidify the GOAT status. $100 million, that's big. $10 million a year over the next 10 years. That's definitely putting your money where your mouth is. I mean, he dropped the Concourse next Christmas, and he'll get all that back. But
don't do that, man. Why you saying that?
I'm just saying, but it goes to show you that all this money that we invested in Jordans is not going to waste. So big shout outs to the big homie Michael Jordan for dropping that $100 million on causes that will help the community out. So.
Hey, LA just said I need to slide in Yvonne Orji daddy DMs. He do be on
the hey, he gave the print last night.
I'm gonna let y'all know what happened. I'm gonna do it. Let's see what happens.
He asked for $1 million though for that.
Listen, I ain't got it yet.
What you got to present to the parents?
He said he'll take $1. It's symbolic. it's a symbolic gesture.
He said all you gotta do is take him a goat. So.
I know a homie that'll get me a goat real easy. Y'all wish me luck out there in the comments and let y'all know how it go. All right.
Hey,
Our
not
last
big.
segment. Our last segment. We got to do Randy Watson and Sex with Chocolate. That's they sponsoring our shout out to the arts movement. For my weekly nomination, I got Jay-Z. He's a rapper born in Brooklyn, and we gonna talk about it. My dog Jay out here making major moves like a ninja, stealth assassin. First and foremost, he gave the attorneys and the attorney team for Ahmaud Arbery his private jet to fly down to Georgia for the court hearings. He made sure they got down there on time with no distractions. So he let them use the Clearport. Um, he took out a full page ad in support of George Floyd, well, honoring George Floyd and his family around the nation. He had other parents and family members that were related to victims of the same crime, which is police brutality. He had them sign it. He had them support the ads in the newspapers around the country. He also made a call to the Minnesota governor, urging them, I need to make something happen quick. Stop sitting on it. And last but not least, he actually loaned one of his attorneys, his Rock Nation attorneys, to a lawsuit that was trying to get PPE supplied to prisons in the Mississippi lawsuit. So shout out to Jay-Z this week for just dude has been extremely consistent with how he's trying to participate in the movement. And I think it's a wonderful blueprint for anybody that's interested in getting on board, using their celebrity to leverage change, and, even using a little bit of influence and money.
Yes. Yeah, definitely shout out to Jay-Z. I don't think I think that's a huge thing. And when we talk about the arts, I do want to talk about the Obama portraits. There's normally a ceremony, a traditional ceremony to where the former president's portraits get displayed. I think it's been going on for like the last 40 years or so. Unfortunately, due to everything that's going on, they can't be displayed. But the two Obama portraits from the brother, his last name was Wiley. They've been shared on social media quite a bit this week. Mm-hmm. So we want to give a shout out to those two portraits because they can't get their just due by being displayed in the White House due to everything that's going on with the virus and everything. So,
all right.
LinkedIn people were sharing the portraits. So
I got you. All right. So real quick, we're gonna run this Candace Owens segment he want to run. And we ain't even gonna I don't want people to be confused with the Black Awareness Rally and Candace Owens. Hey, yeah, I do not consider her a part of the Black community. You should neither. Please do not be fooled by people looking like us, aka having the same complexion as us, as a member of the Black community. We'll touch on that a little bit more. We need to start.
I don't know. It sounds like you done jumped off the Angela Rye train and onto the Yvonne Orji train, but your ex, like she like to say, everybody that's our skin folk ain't our kin folk. So
listen, that ain't my ex. It's just last night there was a clarion call for all the brothers in the community to step up and rescue Yvonne Orji. So what kind of brother would I be sitting up here talking noise every week and not coming to the aid of the sisters? All right. But anyway, what you want to say about Candace? Oh, sorry. No,
it's a combination of things. Is that one? I've had to on a couple of occasions this week. Like the opportunity was presented to me for me to kind of give perspective from the Black point of view. One in a corporate setting, and then two in like this accountability group that I'm a part of. So it's strange because it's like, I think I was breaking it down with you earlier. Is that, all right, in my company, they want to do something to help people out. They don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So they're coming to the Black people to kind of say, hey, what can we do? How can we help out?
Right.
So it's a puzzling situation because it's like you're trying to deal with something yourself, but then you also have to educate other people at the same time.
Right.
And that's a puzzling situation about it. But is something that, hey, if they're taking the initiative, these groups took the initiative to kind of come up with something to have a discussion, have a dialogue. So if they're taking the initiative to kind of start it, I guess it's up to me to meet them halfway.
Okay.
Because these groups are looking for knowledge, and looking for. I mean, we had in my company we had a good talk, just kind of educating people. People got to share how they feel about things, and things of that nature, and got to hear from my perspective as well as other Black coworkers' perspectives. An accountability group that I'm a part of, this group of men, it's two Black guys in the group, and we were just trying to share. Some guys they just don't know. They just don't know how. It's like they're like, how did things get like this? How did what happened and stuff like this? So you kind of have to like break it down because they just don't know at all. Like they just don't have any perspective on what's going on. So when stuff like that happens, they're just like they don't know the history behind it or how things got this way. So they just look at it as an isolated incident when it's so as I said, I say that to say this is that I'm a part of this app called Neighborhood or Nextdoor. I'm sorry, it's called Nextdoor. Okay. And so Nextdoor is an app to where everybody, it's like a social networking for everybody in the neighborhood. I live in Pasco County, which is a predominantly white neighborhood. So, of course, the one post that gets made up about this entire situation, because I've been on it looking to see, hey, somebody gonna say something, blah, blah, blah. They did issue a warning out Friday that there might be a riot or a protest close to our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And so people were up in arms about that, saying, why is it coming our way, stuff like that. But today, like 5 minutes before I was supposed to go on the show, the one post I guess was a Candace Owens video, and people were like, yeah, see that's exactly what's going on, and like that's what y'all run with everything that's been happening. That's the one thing y'all gonna run with. So I just wanted to like kind of get that off my chest and say that's what's going on in my Nextdoor app. I don't know what's going on in your Nextdoor app, but that's what's going
on. We got Dominique in the comments saying that what you're describing is exhausting for a Black person to be responsible for.
Yes, it is.
That they need to get their level of education up. But unfortunately for us, since they ain't been listening for the last 400 years and they just started listening this week, we gotta share the information again. But I completely agree with y'all, man. It is exhausting to kind of have to be that person in your circle that has to educate everybody on what's going on. Unfortunately, the thing that got me this week was I was that guy for Black people. And it's not a bad thing, but it can be exhausting and mentally taxing. So I get what you're saying. As Nelson, we get what you're saying. And they got to do some lifting too. They got to do some work. So, hey man, everybody need to chip in. We have to figure out how to share voices that are not Candace Owens, and that's their one right now. You know what I mean?
That is their one though. That's as I said, they love her. So. They found one Black voice that they can connect with, and they are running with it, like running through the streets with Jubilee, because they have something that they can attach themselves to.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's been tough. The title of the episode is Sports on the Front Line. Topic number one was sports on the front line. But I think it's a mistake not to include all forms of entertainment. This will be my 1 week, my one and only week where I give Oprah some props.
Yes, long overdue. Long overdue.
That was it. I'm done. Now,
and hopefully Gail will be making a cameo appearance in the special.
you
Just
listen. You better
just to put
give
it on
details.
top.
I'm not giving details. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, so if y'all don't know, Oprah's doing a 2-night special on 18 different networks. So that means that if you try to change a channel, she's gonna be on the other channel you try to change to. But she is gonna be 2 nights, and the special is named "Where Do We Go From Here," where she's gonna be bringing on some of the top thought leaders right now, and it's gonna be an interesting discussion. As I said, I'm hoping not only Oprah's a part of it, but Gail joins, just to be mad as possible. But yeah, so y'all stay tuned for that. I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not helping you. I did my part. If you don't know, they ain't gonna find out. Hey, listen.
It's next week. Y'all won't be able to miss it,
though. Yeah. If you guys go back, any earlier episode, we have a long-standing. Well, I have a long-standing issue with Oprah's brand of, what do you call it? Activism. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. So that's why I'm not helping Pledge inform you guys on what it is that she's doing this week. So yeah, good job, Oprah.
I was just reminded that she stole that title from a Martin Luther King book. So it's
so she being lazy. Listen.
Why did I lob that up to you though?
I couldn't help it, duh. You know I was gonna jump at it. It's low hanging fruit, duh.
I should not have lobbed that up to you.
Hey, Michael Jordan donated $100 million, and it might take 10 years. It's going to take 10 years, blah, 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 blah. He just recently became a billionaire. Awesome. I wish more billionaires would match that type of energy. So if you know any billionaires, Pledge, who've been billionaires a little longer than Michael Jordan, try to reach out to them and let them know that they could take a page out of Michael Jordan's book. If you know any billionaires, all right, on Twitter with TV networks. All right. Anyway, let's get into it.
Yeah, it's gonna be Tuesday and Wednesday. I think you knew that. You didn't want to share that with the people, though.
Yeah, y'all heard Pledge.
Now I'm
not repeating it. That's your job. I got Jay-Z on this side and Michael Jordan. You got Oprah. I got Michael Jordan. So you do your job.
Nah, I bought up Michael Jordan.
Huh?
I was the one who bought up Michael Jordan.
Yeah, but every single week, I'm the only person that's in here fighting these old heads on the Michael Jordan issue. You know what I mean? I believe there was episode 2, 3. I was calling out Boyce Watkins for saying something about MJ. But anyway. Oh man, I forgot. I'm streaming in 2 different places. But yeah. Michael Jordan's the GOAT now. We can end that debate. LeBron ain't sent $100 million nowhere. This is also a joke for the people that don't know. This is a joke between sports fans, and this week we're gonna be on sports. So sports is on the front line, or sports are on the front line of the movement right now. A lot of headlines have been made about prominent athletes in different sports industries, sports leagues, being seen and heard by the world for doing good and bad things at this point in time in the movement. And so in the picture we have for this week's graphic, we have 45, the Cheeto in chief, his wife, slave person, and a prominent quarterback from the NFL by the name of Drew Brees. He might have made the second biggest headline this week by putting his foot further in his mouth, down his throat, into his esophagus, by saying that he would not side with anybody that's protesting the American flag. He was on Yahoo Finance in an interview, and he was asked about how he felt about the uprising and the movement to support the arrest of the murderers of George Floyd. And ignorantly, selfishly, racistly, I don't know if that's a word. Hey, y'all fact check me on that. I don't know if racistly is a word. But he said that he doesn't support anybody protesting the American flag or the Army because both his grandfathers served in the armed services, and you can check his track record because he ain't racist based on the work he be doing in the community. If you got a problem about it, come see him.
He did not say that last part, by the way.
Y'all go see him and talk to him about his stance, Twitter. If you know where he live, I have no comment on that. But what you got to say, Pledge? What you think?
I think that, as I said, I've had conversations with people this week, and the conversations that I had showed that white people have to be educated on this issue as much as anybody else.
Right.
I think that, in full disclosure, Drew Brees did issue an apology the next day. That kind of showed, and I think that's why people need. I think this is the reason why people have to talk and discuss things, so we see how they feel and what they know, and so they can be educated. And so I think Drew Brees, he didn't double down on it the next day, even after President Trump tried to. I can't believe I said that word. I mean, even after 45. Kind of said, "Hey, Breeze, rock, keep rocking with us." He still denounced the president the next day of saying that, he was wrong and things of that nature. So I think that it's sad that we have to kind of give them a chance to state how they feel, for them to be wrong, and then for us to correct them, for them to get it right. But I think that shows his level of being willing to get it right and not be right. And so, as I said, I think the first part is how a lot of people feel. They feel like people, when they kneel, and there's pictures of him kneeling from
who's he kneeling with?
That's the thing. I don't know who's he kneeling with, or if it's him kneeling during the national anthem. I don't know if that's the case. But there are pictures of him kneeling. What's that?
It looked like one of them knees you take when somebody got injured severely and everybody gets on the knee.
Or it could be, the prayer after the game or something like that. It could be that.
Because he claims to love God. I don't know what God he's talking about, because the one in the Bible would side with you standing up for this issue that's going on right now. But he claims to love a God. I don't know which one. And he claims to love his country. And again, we helped build this more than they did, so I don't know what country he's talking about. But he is kneeling in that picture in arms with some of his teammates. So, I don't think it's the anthem protest, though. Personally, because they look like they're on the sideline.
But from a bigger context, I think the thing is that yes, he was way off base with his first comments. But I think that's why we need to have dialogue. We really need to see what other people are thinking. Like, as I said, it might be ugly, it might be dead wrong, but I think unless we are able to know what they're thinking and us be able to kind of say, hey, this is where you're going wrong with things or whatever. Yeah. I think that's where we start to come together a little bit. So
do we need go ahead, my bad.
No, I'm saying, although it was an ugly situation at first, I do think that it got corrected at the end. And you have to look at the track record of Drew Brees. He is looked up to in the NFL for the work that he does, especially during Katrina and after Katrina. Even before this, he was I don't know how many meals that he donated during the COVID situation or whatever, but he does have a track record of being helpful in the community or whatever. And so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully he'll, get it corrected, not just through his words, but through his actions. Some of his teammates that, he works with every day have forgiven him. And a few of his teammates have I think,
name three.
Malcolm Jenkins, one of them, even though Malcolm Jenkins was strong, and Malcolm Jenkins just joined, and then the Thomas, the receiver. I don't know Kamara.
I don't know who that is. You got to name him. I'm not helping you, dog.
Michael.
Okay. All right.
Michael Thomas said he forgives him. So I think that he said how he felt. It was wrong, and then he saw our perspective, and then he corrected it. That's all. I mean, and that's what you can ask people to do once they realize they're wrong. As I said, because some people, they realize they're wrong, they double down on it. They're like, I ain't moving. But at least he showed that, hey, I saw where I was wrong and hopefully got corrected. But it did bring up another issue, a systemic issue of how Black veterans were treated as opposed to white veterans, what they came back to, and especially the housing discrimination situation. So it did kind of bring up another point, of saying how even veterans' rights, they weren't equal.
Hey, Pledge. You see the comments? Look at the last three. All I'm going to say is I'm surprised we haven't heard about protest in New Orleans or wherever Drew Brees may live after those comments. I'm surprised that Drew Brees, being as resourceful and intelligent and all these wonderful things that we like to label white athletes, and still haven't made that comment. I'm surprised that people forgave him. Namely his teammates.
But those are the people that are closest to him. So those are the people that see how he moves on a day-to-day basis. I mean,
I feel you. I don't know. I'm just saying.
And the people in New Orleans, they might know everything that he does to impact that community. So they might, he said that, but we've seen him actually do work in the community. So now that he's corrected, let's give him a pass.
LA say Pledge. Nino Brown gave turkeys to the community on Thanksgiving, but was still killing the community behind the scenes in reference to all the good things Drew did. Mr. Antonio said Drew gave his real answer to save his relationship with his buddy 45, but he tried to change the narrative like it was done before. He just didn't get the memo that people no longer talked about disrespecting the flag. So it sound like Drew PR team did a great job after Drew speaking for herself. What?
But as I said, after he made the PR comment, the next day, clarifying the thing or whatever, 45 went back and tried to get him back on his side, and Drew said, "No, I'm not gonna go back on what I said. I'm gonna stick to what I said." So 45 tweeted, saying that there should be no kneeling and stuff like that or whatever, but Drew stuck to his guns and supported his teammates over 45. I will say that. I mean, I don't know if
those are, ladies and gentlemen, those things are on record as having had happen. I don't know.
But if somebody does not see something, if somebody does not automatically see the plight and then they get educated on it, are we going to hold them accountable for what they said before they got educated on something?
Yes.
We are?
Yes. In a legal sense.
I had to educate
in a legal sense.
I had to educate groups of people this week that just didn't understand what we were upset about. I literally had to do that.
All I'm saying is, in a legal sense, if you commit a crime, 7 years ago, you're still liable for that crime. Now, this isn't a crime. This is a faux pas. Somebody might say, well, his words don't affect nobody. But they do. But he's speaking for a group of people who feel that exact same way. No, he represents a lot of people that will be in the community handing out stuff. This takes me back to a conversation I was having with a young man online yesterday, and he was talking about how we shouldn't care about the money that Michael Jordan gave him until we see where the money goes and what is done with the money. Drew is flat out of line, bro. Like, again, his PR team came in and saved the day, and his teammates had to come out and say, okay, now we forgive you. But as we can tell with Drew, we know that ain't what's in his heart. Like now we know what's in his heart. So,
But
maybe he can
here's
die.
my
Hmm? What?
here's my mindset on it. I'm happy that it happened. It got out.
Right.
It got a chance to get corrected, as opposed to it never getting out and him still feeling that exact same way. I think it's better when things get exposed and then things get corrected, as opposed to things not being exposed and never getting corrected.
So
So it has to be a process of him getting educated. He just got educated for the whole public to see. But him getting educated is the main point that we need to make.
I I'm with you, man. Like we supposed to be able to forgive people, blah blah blah. But a lot of people saying, man, you just willfully ignored everything. Like this shows how bad it was, how bad it is, how bad of a person Drew is. You've been around these black dudes your whole life. Every time you've been playing sports, you've been playing with a black dude, right? And so to have Michael Jenkins on your team, in your locker room, which means in the same building with you 6 days a week, and him to be on TV as often as he was saying, hey, the protest ain't never been about kneeling, and you still think this issue is about the flag, it means you're ignoring everything on purpose, dog. And that's the problem I think everybody in the comments and the world over is having with Drew. Like, dude, you ain't got no excuse on that. Like, you of all people were close enough to black people to be like, you know what? Let me ask them what they want. Let me ask them what they think and feel before going on TV and saying something stupid. Now, does he deserve a brownie point for getting it right later? Or having his PR team say he should get out there and say something? Sure. I'm gonna give him his brownie point. But come on, man. We can't keep having these mistakes. Next time it might cost somebody their life. Like, when white people make mistakes, man, black people might end up dying. You know what I mean? So we can't keep affording to excuse that. A couple cats in the comments were saying the only reason he apologized is because he saw the niggas that block for him and catch passes and run the ball and gonna hit him got mad. What you think about that?
Like I said, there's no way to know if it was a PR statement or if it was a true change of heart. I hope that it was a true change of heart, especially since his partner 45 reached out to him and he pretty much told his partner, "Nah, I'm sticking by my apology," as opposed to caving to 45 like everybody else does, pretty much. But as I said, but his teammates, the people that are close to him, like I just read it where Malcolm Jenkins told Drew Brees, "Thank you for listening." So I don't know if him and Malcolm Jenkins had a conversation about what happened, but Malcolm Jenkins came out the same day as an apology and told Drew Brees, "Thank you for listening." So as I said, he might have had to have a talk with somebody to get a more perspective on the situation, even though he had stuck his foot in his mouth the day before. But I think that we want people to get it right at the end of the day.
We do want people to get it right. We do.
And as I said, and I think, and I hope that, as I said, it was a huge mistake, a mistake that's going to cost him in some way, somehow. But at the end of the day, I hope that he gets it right. And I think that him showing that he can have a change of heart might show other people that they can have a change of heart as well, even if they do have a total misrepresentation of everything that's going on, but they can go through the process of getting educated and then get it right at the end. Hey. So that's for not just him, but for a lot of people, because in the conversations that I've had this week, I see where a lot of people are just like, dude, they just don't know what the hell's going on. Because I don't know if they just don't pay attention. They're not exposed to it. They haven't listened to anybody's perspective. I don't know what it is, but you think that everybody sees what's going on and is knowledgeable about it and they just don't care or something. What I saw this week was people care, but they just don't understand the perspective. They just don't have any perspective of it. And it was sad, but I was like, so y'all don't know why people are upset? Y'all don't understand at all why people are upset?
What they said?
They were like, nah, we like, how did it get to this? Like, what happened? And I'm like, well, happened in 1619. Like that's I'm literally like have to go back to this.
Hey,
And it's like as opposed to them comforting, like them saying, "Hey, it's gonna be all right." I gotta tell them like I gotta like educate them. And as I said, two separate instances.
hey, pledge forgiveness is awesome, dog. But ain't nobody believing Drew, dog. Like ain't nobody in the comments believing Drew. Everybody think it was motivated by him getting pressured to do it. Again, thanks for saying the statement, but we still can't mess with you moving forward. You get what I'm saying? Like one thing I will say about African Americans, we are the most forgiving African people. I heard somebody say this: we're not evil, we're not violent by nature. You can see time and time again. The only time we're getting up and doing certain stuff is when we provoke to do it, and I think that's the case here. Now, moving forward, I can't mess with Drew on that level. Like, thanks. You can keep sending the money, you can keep sending the meals, you can keep doing all that philanthropy crap. Awesome. Keep doing it. But we can't rock with you no more. We just every time we talk to you now, it's gonna be a business transaction. After that, so long. God be with you. Keep sending the money, keep sending the food. That's that. Ain't no more camaraderie, dog. And so I think a lot of people are starting to feel that way. I don't call that being judgmental. I think that means being insightful and making informed decisions moving forward. Uh, Malcolm X has a quote about foolishly thinking we can integrate into a community and it be a mixed community and not realizing it was a mistake until white people decide to leave that community, right? And so he's given this example as a means of letting it be known that we need to be insular in the fact that we need to be in charge of our own communities, the economics in our communities, the policies in our communities. We need to be in charge of anything that has anything to do with our livelihood, right? And so whenever it comes time to rely on other people outside of that group to work with us or get stuff done, we foolish in thinking that. And I think it would be foolish to think that Drew, at 41 years old, as somebody pointed out in the comment, actually had to change your heart. Thanks for the apology, bro, but cool. Thanks for showing us what you feel. If you want to help in the future, quote unquote help, we'll tell you what you can do, but we know we can't rock with you no more. You know what I mean? And I think that's a happy medium. It's protecting our own self-interest and it's saying we'll still do business with you because we believe in free market crap. If you got something you want to offer us in exchange for a service or a good, we'll give it to you. But you ain't in the cookout no more. Like, thanks. Bye. You can go hang out with Trump. We ain't gonna be mad. We'll keep doing business with you though. What you think of that?
I mean, as I said, I don't think it has to be anything to where it's like we rock with Drew, or I'm looking at it more a broader perspective of people feeling one way, being educated, and then coming around. Right. That's I'm looking at it from that perspective. And as I said, I think there has to be there are a lot of people that feel a way that's wrong. And one thing that I've seen this week is that people are acknowledging those feelings that they felt wrong for years. They haven't seen it, but this issue of what's going on right now has forced people to see things from a different perspective. And I think that everything that's going on, that is the goal, is for people to see things with a different perspective. Is that if we continue to say everybody who feels this way is wrong, we ain't rocking with you, but we're not trying to do the things that we need to do to change those people's hearts and minds or whatever, then we're not moving the ball forward. But if we understand for stuff like this to stop happening, that people's hearts and minds have to change.
Okay.
And so if we need people's hearts and minds to change, we have to allow for that growth. And that's all I'm saying. And that's not just aimed at Drew Brees, that's aimed at a lot of people.
All right, so let's go to our second example then. Second example of sports being on the front line is the NFL athletes, the black superstars like Saquon Barkley, Odell Beckham, some of those same teammates, Drew Brees, um, Michael Thomas. They put out a video this week saying that they want the NFL to explicitly say that they are against police brutality. They want the NFL to explicitly say they support Black Lives Matter movements. They want the NFL to explicitly condemn racism. And up until that point, they hadn't done so. Yes, they were in the communities doing certain types of deeds and what have you, but the players wanted them to open their mouth and speak on these three specific issues. So, what do you think of that? Because the NFL was like, the next day, they was like, oh crap, we got to come out here and say exactly what they're saying because these dudes are mad. Now, personally, I thought it was a great chance to see what the players could do in the NFL if they pooled enough resources or the correct resources together and make the NFL acquiesce to the public demand. Was it the best job ever? Was it the best speech ever? Was it the best video ever? Nah. Was it the equivalent of the NBA players standing up at ESPYs in these black suits saying they support Black Lives Matter? No.
But you got to understand they can't come together right now. I mean, it's still COVID.
They work out together, so I'm not gonna let that be an excuse. But
what's that?
They're actually working out together. Some of them been working out together the entire time.
I'm saying, but they're shooting it on cell phones. It's not like it was a production.
I mean, that's another topic because again, they be together physically together. Like there's video of them training together all through this pandemic crap. But they did a good job. You know what I mean? They're exercising. They're trying to get their skin in the game. And the NFL was like, oh, crap, we got to say something now. What are we saying to that?
I mean, as I said, I didn't see the official statement, but I do know that Roger Goodell made a statement after the players' video. And I'm not sure everything he said, but I think he did acknowledge that they got the kneeling thing wrong initially. Mm-hmm. And I know that it's going to be an issue coming in this coming season to where you're going to see kneeling. And I don't think that players are going to get penalized or demonized like they were before. So I think that's what they were trying to get to. And these weren't just any NFL players; these were NFL stars. I mean, you had Ezekiel Elliott, you had
these are
Saquon Barkley,
yeah.
you had Odell Beckham Jr. So I mean, you had some premier players to where if they decide to buck the NFL is going to be in a bad position. Mm-hmm. So I think the star power alone in that forced them. Kind of forced their hand, saying, "Man, these aren't, just anybody. These are premier players." So,
man, Pledge.
What's up?
I wrote a post this week telling people that wanted to be allies that weren't black what it is that they needed to do, and in addition to saying they're not like the racist people in the videos, right? And I said, it's not enough for you to say, oh, I'm not like them, or, not all of us are racist. It's not enough for you to say, oh, I got black friends. It's not enough to say anything anymore. Because giving them a hint, nobody ever believes them. Like my mom, hey, Mom, just said in the comments, she doesn't believe his apology because he seemed so insensitive when he made the statement on Yahoo Finance. I think that was LA. He said it's just miraculous that he made that statement and then overnight he saw the error in his ways. Quashina was saying it's just amazing that all these years before then he didn't see the reason we was doing it. But all of a sudden, he saw the light and they're saying they don't believe him. And so what I'm saying is this. It ain't enough for you to get out here and give these old soft behind speeches and these statements. You gotta get up and put in the work. If Drew Brees don't kneel all 16 games next year, Ain't nobody gonna remember this. If Drew Brees don't come out and say, hey, I stand with the guys kneeling during the anthem, ain't nobody gonna remember this. He gonna have to work damn hard for the rest of his career for people to believe him. The statement ain't gonna be enough, bro. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be for the community. Black people shouldn't just accept. Oh, thank you for apologizing. We forgive you. Oh, we love you, Drew. Thank you NFL for saying we got the Colin Kaepernick situation wrong. If one of these owners don't come out here and hire this dude, the whole NFL is liable. They still not gonna believe anything.
I'm just saying.
Like
My
it
question.
sound good, players, but
So I'm saying my question to you is not directed at Drew Brees, just people in general.
Yeah.
People who have racist or bigoted thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Are they do they never learn or grow past that at all? Or is that what you're saying? Is that there's no way for them to see a situation and be like, man, I never knew this. I never saw this from their perspective. I was wrong. Is there never a way for somebody to say that, or for somebody to feel that, or have that that come to Jesus moment?
People can change. That's not what we're saying. We're saying words aren't enough. You need to now have actions that are consistent with the words that you've shared with us. So for you to say, oh, Black Lives Matter when we burning everything down, that's not good enough. For you to say, oh, America's got an ugly problem when kids are burning things down, that's not good enough. The only reason people are saying anything other than Ben and Jerry's is because people burning stuff down. And the kids ain't even necessarily doing the burning. It's just people co-opting the peaceful protest to burn stuff down. So matter of fact, I give you this case in point. I went to Target yesterday, and this is my first time out the house going somewhere besides getting groceries or food and coming back to the house. I left the neighborhood, went to Target. And I laughed as soon as I pulled in the parking lot because Target's, all their windows are boarded up. And the, I think it's Bed Bath & Beyond, all their windows are boarded up. And the Ross, all their windows are boarded up. Kroger didn't have their windows boarded up. But Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, and Ross had their windows boarded up. And so I started laughing. I was telling Drill, I was like, what they boarding their windows up for? Ain't nobody finna come over here and burn this down necessarily because it's in the part of town that don't nobody necessarily mess with, right? And we laughed because we was like, y'all scared because y'all know that y'all might be culpable in the wrath that is going around the whole nation. And so instead of them being scared that their stuff gonna get burnt down, instead of them being scared that they finna get got, they should have been doing the work beforehand. Or you wouldn't have to worry about that. Why is Kroger stuff not boarded up, but Target stuff boarded up? The only Target that got hit and that was nationally recognized for getting hit was the one in Minneapolis where the kids were begging to go in and purchase some stuff because they were getting assaulted by the police during the peaceful protests. That's why they got hit. But other than that, what we're seeing now is a bunch of cowards trying to save face because they don't want to get hit. And that ain't gonna save you, though. Like, it's not enough to just be like, oh, we sorry, please, Black Lives Matter. Like, here's another example. We went over here to this neighborhood that got a bar, and the bar put this big white curtain, it was a sheet, up in the window, and they had spray painted Black Lives Matter on the sheet and put the sheet up in the window. It was on the inside of the store. Come on, players. This is why don't nobody believe nothing they be saying. Because they feel like, oh, if I just say these 3 words right now, my shop gonna be safe. You telling me that's effective? You telling me we should forgive Drew Brees in the NFL? When, again, the actions afterwards or before then weren't necessarily consistent? They could change now. We ain't saying don't change. Please change. Billy Graham changed. He got out and did some work after he did some heinous statements objecting to work Martin Luther King was doing. How you object work Martin Luther King doing? The most affable, dare I say, docile black man that you've seen in the history of the world, and you found a problem with what he doing? Both of y'all Christians. How y'all got problems with what each other doing? And then again, something changed where he saw he might have been wrong. And then after that, he consistently started trying to put work in. It ain't good enough to just say something and be scared and be like, oh, my bad. Oh, change, but your habits need to change as well. Your behavior need to change as well.
I agree with you on that.
So I don't give a damn about what Drew Brees said. Nobody in the comments agrees with what he said. Nobody cares. What you gonna do? The preseason games, the regular season games, and that playoff game y'all might play in. What you doing there, Drew? We better see you saying, you know what, I was wrong about the protest. If we don't see it, I ain't gonna endorse it, but I'm gonna understand if you get got. That's all I'm saying. I think that's where we at in America, bro. Listen,
I feel you.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I agree with it. I think that but just saying it is the first step, though. I mean, saying it and putting it out there is the first step. The church I go to is a mixed race church, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had a message last Sunday where one of the black pastors of the church, one of the white pastors sat down and had a conversation about race.
Okay.
And they gave us a precursor to like, hey, this video was produced before, the protests and the riots and things like that. Like they had the conversation before. And
they had to get that speech out first.
Yeah, well, I mean, but they acknowledged the George Floyd situation, but the video was made between the George Floyd situation and when the Sunday that they showed the video, all the riots and protests had broken out, so they didn't really get a chance to address that. But just with the pastor that was a part of it, he happens to be a part of my accountability group, right? Mm-hmm. And he was like, whenever you make a video like that, even though people are Christians and people should feel this way or whatever, you take a chance. He's like, there's no doubt that we lost some members because we came out and said that we are in support of black people getting civil rights. Mm-hmm. It's the right stance to make. So you need to say, good riddance to those people or whatever. But what I'm trying to say is that just coming out and make a statement, people understand that that's the risk in itself. Even though they're doing the right thing or whatever, that's a risk in itself. Is if you make the statement on the wrong side. If people be like, "Oh man, I was rocking with y'all, but now that y'all, you feel this way or whatever, I'm not gonna rock." So,
Tio just made a joke in the comments, and this is kind of speaking to your point. Like, yes, pledge, I agree. Make a statement to let people know that you're empathetic, but that's not good enough. You got to do more work. It's a multi-step process. That's just the first step. So people leave. Now, Tio just made a joke. So I thought it was hilarious. Drew Brees gonna come out here and be like, niggas, I'm sorry here. I'm aware I can't breeze t-shirt. And niggas gonna be happy. Don't fall for that, man. Please don't buy one of them shirts when he make it, because he gonna make the shirt and it's gonna be funny. Please don't fall for that. Second thing, man. Our third topic. Again, we always trying to be fair and balanced and holding us accountable in addition to the oppressors and the bigots that we have to deal with as black people here on the show. The third stance that we need to be dealing with as sportsmen on the front line is our demands for black athletes to walk away from the institutions that are employing them or go to HBCUs instead of going to these PWIs or predominantly white universities, institutions. What you think? Is it fair of us to tell niggas to walk away from the NBA, NFL, Alabama, UF, Duke basketball, UNC basketball, and go somewhere else because we just want to be black?
No.
Why not?
Because I think that it's every person's responsibility to maximize the gifts and the talents that they were blessed with. And if those institutions give you the chance to maximize those gifts and talents, it's up to you to do that. And then once you create your own platform, you do whatever it is you want to do with that platform. But if you don't ever get that platform, what good is it anyways? So I think, the same way, we chose whatever university we chose because we felt that it maximized our talents, gifts, and abilities. Mm-hmm. I think these athletes have that same charge in them, is to maximize their opportunities.
So what we gonna do? What we supposed to do? Is it what we supposed to be telling the institutions that are responsible for?
I'm saying we have to make them accountable. We can't make the athletes accountable for.
How do we do that?
I'm saying we put pressure on these institutes. Like there's been instances to where players, whether they, former players that have spoken up about instances of what they experienced, whether it was something that the way the whole system was set up, or whether it was a particular instance where something happened or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think players letting them know, hey, this is not a good situation. I think that is, but I don't think you say, hey, turn down this full ride scholarship and in the opportunity to play in the SEC to reach your ultimate goal of being in the NFL, just so, to go to an HBCU who may not offer the same resources. I don't think that's something that's going to help move the ball forward.
Okay. So in the comments, people want to know a plan of action. What do you think maximizing means? I mean, what do you like? What are the steps or the procedures involved with maximization? Because me and Kendra have been trying to figure this out for like the last 3 days, and we think we got something for basketball.
What exactly?
Huh?
Maximize what exactly?
Like trying to get. So the problem, I think people are trying to get you to explain is what would the kids do to maximize their potential? Like you're saying, maximize the skill that they develop.
All right, let's look at it from this way, right? I have a son, and he's looking at going to University of Florida or to Bethune-Cookman University, right? Mm-hmm. I know if he goes to University of Florida, and he's a football player, and his ultimate goal is to get to the NFL.
Okay.
I know if he goes to University of Florida, they're going to have a stronger strength and conditioning program.
Okay.
Right. I know that he's going to be playing in the SEC. He's going to be playing against stronger competition. He's probably going to get better coaching. So all those things are going to help him maximize his goal of getting to the NFL. And once if he's playing at University of Florida, he's in the NFL, that gives him a platform to make a difference in other people's lives because he has the resources and he has the notoriety to make a difference in people's lives.
Okay.
If he goes to BCU, he may not. His chances of making it to the NFL are a lot less than they would University of Florida. You can look at how many people from the BCU are in the NFL and how many people from the University of Florida in the NFL. It's a huge discrepancy, right? And so if he doesn't get to the NFL, it doesn't give him a platform to affect people's lives the way he would by going to UF. That's all I'm saying, is that you have talent and you have abilities, maximize that talent and ability to reach to a level. And then once you reach that level, then you help whoever you can help.
Okay. So here's what's happening. I still haven't given my plan yet, my idea for it, but a couple people again in the chat are asking, they agree that we should try to make a statement some type of way. And to a point, I agree with what you're saying. Drell and I couldn't figure out how to get the impact to be made on college football that we could easily make in college basketball. We could easily get college basketball players the same amount of exposure by going to a HBCU and then, having a good show in the tournament. Like that's a really easy way for them to get their spotlight. You know what I'm saying? So let's say the number one prospect in America in basketball decides to go to an HBCU, and if he performs well enough at the right time, he's going to get seen. People are going to see him. Yay, he can still get to the league. We got a lot of people that did that. Ja Morant might be the most recent example I can think of that outperformed the HBCU experience and became
Murray State. I don't think Murray State is considered
the
HBCU.
HBCU. I mean, I don't know, but it's a very small school. It's a small school.
Yes,
that
small
somebody
school.
was saying, you could use that example to prove that if you just go somewhere and you just perform well enough, you're going to get seen. Now, we don't have as many examples in football, bro. It is really hard to make that same impact in college football. Yes, people get drafted from everywhere in the NFL. Yes, that is also true. But it's very hard to get that same exposure as a football player at an HBCU.
Yeah. And just know that I'm not making HBCUs at all. I see the reason why people why HBCUs are actually becoming more popular now.
Mm-hmm.
There are times, and I share with you, there are times where I think and contemplate on if I should have gone to HBCU.
Okay.
And so that's a conversation that we had before. I'm just talking about athletes in this certain instance, because I said I know people who have played sports at HBCUs, and they're like, it's a tougher life than people that go to larger universities. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, I know. Elliot's bringing up Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice played in a totally different generation.
It's a little different. We can name people. We got examples. We're not saying that
they're the exception as opposed to the rule, though. That's the point.
Right. It's not a common occurrence, and we don't want to dissuade people from doing the move to the HBCUs. First, what I'm saying as an accountability measure to the African American community, how will we support these families who are ultimately affected by the students going to an HBCU? Because that's the issue. What I know about college sports going to Alabama, as opposed to FAMU, as LA keeps wanting us to shout out, they're going to get some resources that FAMU can't offer the kids. The family's going to get some resources that FAMU can't offer the kids. How do we deal with that as a community? Elliot's saying we need to support the HBCUs. How? What do we need to be doing? What is it that we should be out here doing to get out here? Elliot, tell us. What should we be out here doing? Yeah. Do we just keep giving them money to go to the games? Do we just keep giving the coaches money to go to the games? Is that enough? Because we go to the games.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it's easier in basketball because in basketball, you can take the top 5 kids in a given class and say, all you guys go to the same school, and that school will have a chance at, if the top 5 kids in a given class go to the same school, that school will have a chance at making a big run in the NCAA tournament. In basketball, all you need is 4 or 5 of the best, and that's pretty much all you need. I mean, right. Kentucky has proven that doesn't always work, but it's easier said than done in basketball. And I know that LA was actually more popular now. I was referring to the fact that HBCU enrollment has increased over the last 3 or 4 years. That's what I mean by HBCUs being more popular now, is that the enrollment has increased when it was trending downward the previous years. That's what I mean.
People saying donate.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it does. It definitely serves a purpose. The HBCUs serve a purpose.
Yeah,
and
we're talking about sports, though. We're talking about sports only.
Some great talent. But as I said, I think it has to be something to where the system is developed before people are comfortable sending their kids to that system.
Yeah, that's fair. That's my whole argument.
Because I mean, people are like, I'm not gonna my child's not gonna be an experiment. I'm gonna, build it first and show me that it works, and then I'll send my child to that system.
So again, in the comment, we're saying enrollment was higher in the 90s. Elliot is a person that has worked intimately with the programs. that we're discussing. LA is a person that has intimate experience with the programs. Dominique Nelson has
Yeah,
intimate experience with the programs. There's a lot of people in the comments that are sharing some great information. The first thing we're
yeah,
seeing is just donate. But LA is also calling out the people that have gone to HBCUs. They need to do a better job of donating. Let's not forget, man. Money makes all of this stuff go around. Like these programs that are attracting these kids to these PWIs, they got money, and not every single PWI has money. We're not. That's not what we're saying. Kendrell and I earlier came up with a little theory that we thought might be a little helpful because he has some experience working intimately with the sports programs at HBCUs and PWIs. If we're thinking that our kids won't have the same shot at making it to the NFL as some of these other prominent athletes. For example, there's a star system for those of us that are unfamiliar. There's a star system that high school athletes are given, and they're rated based on the 5-star system. And so you have 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 1-star, 2-star recruits, right? And so, me and Drill just trying to figure this out. If your kid isn't evaluated as a one, a 3 or higher star athlete, so 3, 4, or 5, you should probably send them to a smaller institution like a HBCU, because your chances of making the league, statistically only, are a little smaller than if you were going as a 4 or 5-star, right? Now, this is only for football. Basketball, you could just outperform and you can make it. You have an easier impact. But as a football player, it's a lot harder for you to have that same impact and to receive that same exposure if you got recruited by Alabama, if you went to Howard, right? We're not saying don't go to those, but in fairness, are we going to tell a kid that's a 5-star recruit in football that got Nick Saban knocking on their door from the University of Alabama or Dabo Swinney from the University of Clemson not to go to those schools because you need to support FAMU? I don't think that's fair for the kid, because we're looking at a kid whose family's life might be affected by him choosing to change and go to the HBCU.
yeah.
What y'all
And
think?
I'm not trying to expose anybody or anything, but there are rumors that certain family members get taken care of by these institutions
I mean,
while their kids are at these institutions. I mean, so
we know that's common.
that has, in basketball, that you hear that a lot or whatever. So they're looking at not only future opportunity of playing in the professional leagues, they're looking at opportunities to where some of these kids' families get enriched while they're at this, while they're at the school.
We get some great ideas from the comments, man. The We're getting information from people. People are saying that we should invite coaches to the discussion. Uh, Ellie is giving us some insider information, not insider information, some articles that are addressing the issues that that industry is having, right? So we can learn a lot. I don't read as much as I could about the issue with the HBCUs, but it looks like they're having problems with funding. It looks like coaches are part of the problem, and then, as always, we're getting lied on with some oppressive and misleading uh, information and slights being perpetuated by the NCAA. So sounds like it's a multi-pronged problem. But how can we today make a change and start to try to get that narrative to change a little bit? Because I know, boy, I want to go to a HBCU coming out of high school, and I know you remember them nights in Beto, and I used to run up and down the hallway screaming HBCU by '06. I was passionate about it, but I didn't know. I just wanted the idea to change because I do see the need for us to be together more often than not. So let me take a look at some of this stuff. But I mean, you could talk more to kids getting paid to go to these PWIs, these crazy amounts of money that they wouldn't get otherwise.
Yes.
Not that it's good, not that we saying you should commit a crime, but I
Yeah,
understand.
we don't want no compliance officers coming after us.
Yeah, but I understand. Like that's a hard choice to make, and one I haven't been asked to make. turn down $100,000 for your family.
Yeah.
How many of us can say, "Oh no, I wouldn't do it"? That's tough, bro. Hold on, let me check these comments real quick. What do you think about Michael Jordan stepping up and making the statement he made? Because a lot of the people are saying, "Oh, nigga, we tired of that. You just giving us the money back that we've been giving you for all these years." Blah 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 blah.
No, I'm saying I think that Michael Jordan is somebody who has probably listened to what people have had to say about him and the critiques that people have had to say about him, and he stepped up over the last few years, not just making a statement, a strong statement, and then also backing it up with dropping the bag on everybody. So it's a multi-pronged effect where he's visibly showing that, hey, this is what's wrong, and then putting his actions behind it. So I think it's huge for him to what he's done this week. We thought the Last Dance documentary was the biggest thing from Jordan this year, but
with that, hey man, look, y'all can get off my dog, Mike. You can't achieve what he achieved and be a normal dude. You can't achieve what he achieved with a healthy emotional space. That takes some focus. That means you're sacrificing a lot. Same thing with Prince. Shout out to Prince. Prince, he ain't a normal dude. He ain't socialized the same way y'all are. And that took some experiences that some of y'all don't want to have, and a dedication that some of us don't want to have. That's just genius in general.
But that's the thing, is that let people develop their platform, because that's the thing, is that Michael Jordan, when he was playing basketball, that's what he was focused on. He was focused on basketball. But basketball is what created a huge following and a huge platform for him. So once basketball was over, he was able to capitalize on the platform that he built from being focused just on basketball. So it comes, it comes both ways. It's like, all right, let me be hyper focused on one thing, and then once I'm done playing, that hyper focus will help move the cause forward after I'm playing. Because if he's trying to focus on two things at the same time, like LeBron is doing, since everybody wants to down LeBron, he's been focused on activism and playing basketball at the same time. Something that Jordan couldn't do. But let me digress. But yeah,
Mike did it. Mike did it. Mike was donating. Y'all can get out, Mike, dog. See, this is wrong with black people. And somebody just said this in the comment, and it's kind of, I think we're getting dragged back to the HBCU topic. We ain't always got to see cats out here doing stuff. They ain't always got to drop no huge press release.
Nah, it doesn't have to be visible.
Yeah, they giving money. Mike was one of the people that were instrumental in funding the Malcolm X movie Spike Lee was putting out when he ran out of money. Mike has been doing stuff for years. No, it's not publicized as much as Oprah crap, but it was definitely getting done. If you go to the National African American History Museum in D.C., you're going to see Mike's name on the plaque that say 5 million and more donations. My dog was up there giving money. He always giving money.
And I was just taking shots at Michael more so as a joke, to try to big up LeBron, since a lot of people compare LeBron and Jordan.
That's a sports debate that is always.
That's what we do as a people. We can't let two people be great. One has to be greater than the other.
Right. But LeBron out here selling shoes too now.
What's that?
I said LeBron out here selling shoes too. Let's not get it twisted. But
it's not great Jordan is.
Yeah.
But I think people, it's like, what more can somebody do to where people are going to finally give them their credit? Like, if you're still talking bad about Jordan after dropping 100 million, what more do you have to say about it?
They want him to open the school. But let's get back to this. Tio just gave a great example of the problem we're facing. A 4-star prospect, 4 or 5, depending on the system that is being used to evaluate him, prospect decided to go to FAMU, and Tio saying he caught hell for it. I'm trying to figure out who was giving him slack for deciding to go to an HBCU instead of a prominent PWI. No, we don't make it cool for cats to go to HBCUs as opposed to these PWIs. And then we're not talking about us sitting up here on these high perch with these educations and these refined lifestyles that we lead. We're talking about people on the ground. People on the ground are the people that are most affected by these decisions that the kids are making. People on the ground are affected the most by these oppressive systems that a lot of people are suffering with, and we have to be fair to them to include them in the conversation when we're trying to format decisions for them. Elliot said something that I think would potentially solve a lot of these issues is if we put more priority on formal education in the name of building skills that won't diminish with your age. That's a really big topic for another conversation, but how do we change the stigma about going to HBCUs if you're an athlete on the ground? I don't have any answers for that. I'm not that well versed on that.
I'm not exactly sure the first step. And I mean, and I think that also from a, even though it's wrong, but from a corporate standpoint is that some people feel that in HBCU the degree doesn't carry the same weight as a PWI. As I said, I think it's wrong because I've seen, if you look at the people who went to HBCUs compared to people who went to PWIs that I know, HBCUs, they're out here making things happen. You know what I'm saying? And so I see that. But from a corporate standpoint, that is something that people take into consideration. As I said, it's wrong, but it is something that's in the back of people's mind.
All right, well, I tell you what, man, this is a bigger issue. This is going to be like a show on its own because we're already running over into like an hour and 30 minutes. I don't want to kill everybody Saturday afternoon, but again, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Thanks to everyone, first time watchers, second time returning watchers. Thank you for joining the conversation. Thank you for coming in and sharing your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to the Facebook page. It's at My T Sharp. There's a hyphen between My and T and Sharp. Once you subscribe or hit like, please make sure you check the following box so that you can get notifications about events that we're having. We're aimed at trying to get action on the ground. Three people that are products of the HBCU experience said we could start by donating. We can look in ways to donate, look out for ways to donate, and we're going to do that. I'm going to put some links up. Let's see what we can get done. We got people that are experts in the arena. We can definitely donate. Also, to us out there that's supporting these sports stars and these athletes, let's give props to the work that these unskilled activists are doing. They're trying. It's scary. It can cost them their job. I understand why some people don't want to protest a certain way because they could lose millions of dollars in funding. And if I ain't got $1 million check to get them for getting fired from the NFL, I can't say nothing to them. It's my personal stance. These people dedicating their entire lives to a cause, and they are genius level skilled people at their jobs, and they should be compensated as such. Again, on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, SoundCloud, we everywhere. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, check out what we're doing, and we're going to post some next action steps. And again, thank you for joining us.
Thanks. God bless.